team. Swear to God, I'm taking over 19. Hey, back, hit a $250,000. When it's here, pretty chilly. I've been trying to find me really wow. Silly, yo, I be gone like Cheerio. Really though, swear we finna get the goal. You the goal, but the most been getting.
Welcome, everyone, to the Degens IDP Blitz. I'm Matty Monty. Welcome to the Dynasty Degens channel. Today, my guest is someone many here are going to be familiar with. He does content for Sports Affiliation and Fantasy Pros. Let's welcome Mason Riney to the show. Mason, how are you today?
Dude, I'm good. Thank you for having me on, man. Excited to be here. Excited to connect with your viewers. Ready to get cracking.
Heck yeah, man. Well, we're going to go over a few news and notes to start. We're going to start off with some injuries, okay? One of the biggest parts of fantasy football, you have to be able to fill a lineup that actually can stay on the field. And right now we're seeing some early season IDP injuries that are making me a bit nervous. We're going to start with TJ Edwards, Chicago linebacker. He entered the season with a hamstring injury, but he apparently tweaked it last week, played about 20 to 30 snaps, and then went down for the rest of the game. And now Coach Ben Johnson is calling this a week-to-week injury. In the short term, we're seeing an increase in snaps from Noah Sewell. And with this little nugget from Ben Johnson, I'm kind of leaning to it more to be a short-term value, probably over the next 2 to 3 weeks. But like I said, we don't know. Coach Speak Index, that's where you guys come in. Help me figure out what that means from Coach Ben Johnson. Shamar Stewart, the Bengals' first-round rookie that made a lot of headlines for his contract dispute at the beginning of the year, is also now out, and it's got to be a worst-case scenario situation in Cincinnati. Joe Burrow and your first-round edge rusher, both in the same game, somehow still pulled out a win in September. So who knows? Maybe it's just going to be temporary bad luck for long-term glory. And finally, Alex Highsmith, the edge rusher that's not talked about near as much as he should be for the Pittsburgh Steelers. He is down, and now the vibes for the defense are even lower than they were going into this week. They don't expect him to land on IR, and honestly, I think this is a big opportunity for Nick Herbig. He had a nice showing last week. He had a big splash play there at the end with the interception, but he had a few tackles. We're going to see him get some extended snaps in the meantime with Highsmith down, and I'm kind of excited to watch him go. He may be one of my favorite pickups this week, but you're going to have to wait till later because Mason's also got a few up his sleeve. Mason, after all that word salad, both of our teams lost our starting quarterbacks. Yours, the 49ers, mine, the Bengals. How are you feeling right now with all that is going on in the 49ers world right now?
Bro, this is an IDP show, and you hit me with Brock Purdy. No, I'm kidding. Bro, what the heck, man? Thank God for Mac Jones, I guess. He came right in. I knew Kyle Shanahan loved him. People had a hunch back when they drafted Trey Lance. They moved up too many picks to get a guy who wasn't mobile and was only a processor. Kyle loves his Kirk Cousins type of guys. Mac stepped in. I am super weary, though, bro, because 5 weeks without Brock Purdy, especially because we just paid him, and it's kind of, I don't know, like every guy that we paid now gets injured. Ayuk, now Purdy, like who's next? I really hope it doesn't happen to anyone else, but it seems like now that CMC is healthy, everyone else is getting injured. So go figure, right?
Hey, you know what? I was just teasing a little bit with the whole quarterback start to an IDP show, but I kind of break the ice a little bit, man. We got to get comfortable. We're about to give some real actionable advice here, and it's going to bring me into my first real IDP question for you, Mason. The biggest loss of the injuries that we just talked about is no doubt TJ Edwards. Do you trust any of the backups in Chicago there? Do you see anybody stepping up, or is this going to be some sort of a situation where now you're looking to the waiver wire to stream certain players?
I think it's first and foremost a Tremaine Edmonds year, just straight out. I traded for TJ Edwards in a lot of places last year in Dynasty Leagues, just expecting for a plug-and-play kind of LB1 for the entire season. You forget about him. He gets cobwebs, but he gets you numbers. And that's actually going to be Edmonds. And now you have a guy, Sewell, who was really good his freshman year at Oregon, but it has always had issues with anything that is not in the run game. So he was targeted a little bit last game and stuff like that. So he's going to get exposed. But with that being said, if he is in the game, he's going to be getting targeted. So maybe he's the guy that you want to get in a pinch if he's not already picked up.
I agree. And that's what makes me the most nervous is I am familiar with Sewell, but I don't know enough about him to trust him with one of those crucial starting spots in my lineup, specifically at the linebacker position. That's essentially the running backs of the defense. You have to have somebody that's going to get stable points for you. And while I do like seeing people get opportunities and I love to take a good gamble, this early in the season, especially if I'm not having a good start, I don't want to leave my linebacker points up to chance. I personally would probably go elsewhere and look, whether it's through a trade, the waiver wire, what have you. I think he's got an opportunity. And honestly, at the end of the day, all this game really is opportunities and who provides points in those opportunities. I'm just not going to trust the guy yet until I see it a couple of weeks. And hopefully by the time we figure out he's good, TJ Edwards is healthy and ready to go.
Quick question for you. Would you rather have Eric Wilson or him? Because they're both probably going to be on the wire.
I'd probably say Wilson. Yeah. I just like that defense more than I like Chicago's right now. I think that they've got incredible pass rushing threats. I don't always feel like Chicago can consistently do that. And because of the quarterback is going to be more frantic in the pocket, it gives you an opportunity for not only dump offs that linebackers can tackle immediately in front of them, but opportunities to get batted balls, interceptions, bigger plays. There's a frenetic pace in the game. You see linebackers achieve higher stats, and that's all vibes, no proof. Just take my word for it, Mason.
Love that. I love it.
Well, my favorite player on the list that kind of came up was when we were talking about Alex Highsmith, and I said that Herbig is going to get an opportunity. I think he's my favorite player that's going to benefit for a short-term burst. Obviously, he's playing alongside TJ Watt. If TJ Watt is on the field, the offense is going to plan protections to stop him from breaking up the game. But with Nick Herbig being there, nobody's going to scheme against him. Do you agree? Is he somebody that you were looking to target on the waiver wire, or am I just living in unicorns and rainbows land?
No, man, 100%. But the thing about him is when he's in, he's not schemed for a lot, but he's more active in the pass rush. He's really getting points for those single sack. I think he had a 2-sack game last year. He's just a guy that gets just under like 500 snaps, like you said, because he's kind of in that rotation, but he's so sick with it in that rotation. I think the guy, I don't know, obviously not shorter leagues, more dynasty. If you have Jack Sawyer, I think, and it's in a deeper league, maybe try to fire him up, or hopefully you have him in a best ball or something, because he kind of got some pitter-patter snaps last week, and he's had some couple pressures. So, I don't know, maybe he has a breakout game. He's kind of like the prototype there that they like. So.
Oh, absolutely. And anytime you can get Ohio State Buckeye love on this podcast, so you interject wherever you want to interject. All right, so now we got all the negativity out of the way and who's not playing. Let's talk about 3 linebackers who deserve to get their flowers right now. One of these is not like the others. I'm going to be very honest with you. 2 of them are very young, sexy names. We love them. One of them is a name that we may have forgotten that I'm going to bring back into the zeitgeist, and that is Jordan Brooks. Jordan Brooks. Oh, how quickly we forget that there was a time when Jordan Brooks was the universal IDP 1, linebacker 1, best defensive player on the board if you were ever in a situation where you got to draft him. While those times are kind of long gone, I do believe we're seeing a player right now climb back up into relevancy. He is currently pacing in the top 5 at the position, Jordan Brooks. It's 2025, and Jordan Brooks on a different team with the Miami Dolphins is now back into the top 5. And my favorite little nuggets, he's got 22 tackles. He's got a sack, but he's also played 100% of the snaps. I think that this is a real fire. I think there's absolutely something here, and I think it could be long-term. But Mason, you're the expert here. Do you believe that this is a long-term situation for Brooks within the top 5, or is he overplaying kind of who he is right now?
So, you said it. We saw it this past in Seattle, even though I'm an Niners fan. Don't remind me. No, I'm kidding. He's a really good player, man. He's good for both NFL and IDP. And the thing about the Dolphins is they're not good right now, especially on their defense. They've got younger guys that are trying to come up like Chop Robinson, things like that. And then on the offensive side of the ball, they just don't move the chains because of Tua or McDaniel or whatever it is. I don't even know if they're going to have the same head coach next year. So if he can have that stability of being there, then I think you got to at least lock him in for the duration of this year, next year, maybe even one beyond that, but at least the next 2.
Absolutely. I think that Miami's in serious problem. They are in serious trouble. I think the McDaniel shtick is getting old with the media, where now he's not saying things, but he's also not producing on the field. So now it's just kind of, what are we seeing? Mm-hmm. And I do believe that they could clean house, and I believe that they could clean all of it. And I'm talking personnel and coaching staff, and it would not shock me. This is a true to the studs rebuild. But back to Jordan Brooks, who I do believe is one of those people that they would keep in place. Yeah. Do you think he has high value on the trade market right now, or are there going to be a lot of skeptics that are not willing to really eat this cheese again?
There are going to be some guys who are early on and some that are not because they've been, I guess, burned that 1 year. But the older heads will probably love them and hold on to them. I think some of the people that are fresher to IDP may try to flip off of them. I think if you can get him a second, it would probably be good. I don't know if I'd flip a first for him. Just not really that invested, like mentally, personally.
Right.
But I mean, if he keeps showing out half the year, then I mean, the trade deadline, if there's a team that's quote unquote tanking, then go ahead and, try to throw a second out there and get him for something.
Absolutely. But now that we have talked about this old, ancient 27-year-old, it's time for us to talk about the young linebackers. My favorite one, I think, right now, and first time I'm saying that on camera, so hopefully it doesn't come back to bite me. Deion Henley. Deion Henley is quickly rising up my rankings. I can't quite put him up there as like the number one linebacker in the league right now, but I do see him as an ascending dynasty asset, and there's no reason that he should be outside the top 3 in dynasty. You can argue inside that top 3, but I believe that he is somebody that you can build a team around. Last season, he had 147 tackles, an interception, and a sack. That was in his first real year of playing time. This season right now, he's already got 18 tackles, 2 sacks, and an interception. So we are already seeing an increase in sacks. Now it's hard to get less than 1, I guess. But I do believe that the growth we're seeing with him is a sign of things to come. My other favorite player currently at this position that's young is Edgerrin Cooper of the Green Bay Packers. He was an immediate contributor as a rookie. Quay Walker kind of held him off last year as a rookie, but I believe that this year Edgerrin Cooper is going to far and away exceed everything that we get from Quay Walker. Quay Walker is playing the same amount of snaps as him. They're like 1A, 1B as far as snap counts in Green Bay. I still believe that you can have two linebackers in certain defenses that can contribute to your team, and I do not see Quay Walker being competition enough for me to ever be scared about having Edgerrin Cooper in my lineup. And I do believe that he's going to have another one of those years where we're going to see an increase in production. Mm-hmm. So whether it's tackles, whether it's sacks, I do think that we're going to see more, and it's because I think he's a more explosive player than Quay Walker. I'm planting my flag on Henley being the better of the two. I think that Henley is far and away the better player currently, and I think he has a higher ceiling. Am I crazy for that? Do you think either of these two can lay claim to a top 3 dynasty linebacker in the very, very near future? I'm talking before Thanksgiving.
I mean, I don't know. There's already some people who are drafting Cooper in the first round of drafts in this offseason for Dynasty, man. He was going up there when, Henley was not as much. But, dude, Henley's game last night, I noticed 3 guys on defense, 2 on the Raiders, obviously Max Crosby because he's nuts, and then Devin White holding the dot. I think he held his own. He was kind of in the background more, not as up front, but looking a lot more polished than he did previously. And then Henley on the other side is just absolute animal. I mean, he's got Troy Dye next to him. So when you want to compare the two for IDP purposes, I think it's definitely Henley all day. Now, like you said, both of them are going to ascend, right? They're going to go up. I think Quay Walker is still going to be a part of the defense a little bit longer than people would like to be. Kind of, like in Detroit with the whole Anzalone situation.
Gosh,
maybe not the same exact thing, but kind of like that, resemblance.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know, if I had to pick the lesser of the two, I think Cooper would be just beneath Henley. But like you said, I like them both.
Yeah. Well, we've talked about Brooks, Henley, and Cooper. So aside from those 3, who's a young linebacker that you could see making a step up this year? Somebody that maybe we're not talking about a lot right now that next year at this time we'll be talking quite a bit about.
Yeah, so this is kind of more of like a crystal ball kind of answer. Gaze in there and look. Carson Schweinsteiger.
Yes.
They've really I don't know, man. They've got JOK on retainer for a lot of money up until like 2028. So getting him, I feel like, is definitely the movement. They're really going to try to push with him. They got Myles Garrett locked down. Those two are going to get a connection, also with Mason in the interior. So they're trying to build that triangle thing going. And I don't know. I think it might work out. He looks pretty good so far. I've only seen one of his games, so I'm going to watch another one soon. But also I was thinking, I don't know, it says under 25, but I'm going to cheat. Jack Campbell just turned 26 last month. And I think this is really his coming of age. I doubted it. I thought it was going to be one more year because I thought it was going to be last year. So now I'm like, I'm a hater.
Right.
But I do feel like the passing of the torch to that defense, they really need some fire, I think, this season. That division is pretty hasty right now, man. I guess unless you're a Bear. No offense. But, but yeah, so that's I think Jack Campbell's another guy.
Yep, I am a noted Campbell hater, and it's not because I don't think he's good, but it's 100% because of the Anzalone thing. I think he's a good enough linebacker that he's always going to be on a team, and whatever team he's on, it's going to hurt the other guy because he is good enough to steal stats. Well, before we get into everybody's favorite part of every fantasy podcast, the waiver wire, we're going to hear from our friends over at Fast Draft.
I know your sad draft season is over, but just because the NFL season starts doesn't mean the drafting stops. Because Fast Draft has the Flex 6 Frenzy. You're drafting 6 guys for the Sunday slate against 9 other competitors. It's fast, it's furious, it's fun. And as with everything on Fast Draft, there are no salaries. Woo! So go to draftfaster.com, get the app, use your host promo code for a $50 deposit match. Now let's go start drafting faster.
Don't forget to use the promo code Degens, Degens, for a $50 deposit match at Fast Draft. That's promo code Degens, Degens, for $50 deposit match at Fast Draft. Mason, it's time. We're going to start with you. I've done a lot of talking today. We're going to do 2 waiver wire pickups this week. You are going to lead the ship here, man. Who are we starting with, and why do you love them?
Okay, it's going to be short and sweet for this. Teddy Buchanan, rookie linebacker out of Cal. He plays now for Baltimore. I don't know why I said Cal. I think he's locked in. He's kind of like pushed Trenton Simpson out of the way, getting the snaps there. They do have Roquan Smith, so I don't expect it to be a 1 Alpha, 1 Bravo situation, but he was on a couple waiver wires, and I went and picked him up this week, and I'm going to see what happens because there's not a lot, there's a lot of injuries going on in the league right now, and you never really know. Another linebacker real quick I just wanted to note was Drew Tranquil because he's having a really nice year.
Yes. People
kind of faded him off really bad in the abyss, and he's kind of coming back too, but I'll leave that there. Upton Stout, safety. I am not known to be a man of the defensive backs, but he's a Niner. No, I'm kidding. Nickelback, man.
Yes,
and
sir.
Robert Saleh is extremely aggressive. They did run a lot of 3 safety looks last game. Jair Brown kind of got into there. So Malik Mustafa is going to come back, I think, in 2 or 3 weeks. So when he gets in there, then definitely Upton Stout should be good by then. Those 2 rocking the box, blitzing from either side, popping back and forth with coverages, disguising things. I think it's going to be, I hope, as an Niner fan, it's going to be really good. And I also hope because in true IDP or true position IDP leagues, I have Upton Stout in a lot of places, got him in some back end drafts last year.
Heck yeah, I love having a defensive player that's on a team with a high-level defensive head coach or defensive coordinator. It's just like the Sean McVay effect on offense, where if you have a good offensive coach, you're going to have a higher ceiling on your fantasy points. Same thing's going on in San Fran. Love that pick. I chose 2 linebackers. Shocker. I'm with you on the defensive back thing to a degree. I do have a soft spot for some safeties, but I went 2 linebackers here. Jack Sanborn. I'm going to do it, Mason. I'm going to do it. I'm going to eat the cheese again on Sanborn. Ever since he burst onto the scene in Chicago, I feel like the hype has kind of exceeded what the stats were, but we saw some absolute mammoth games. And I've always wanted to buy in. I've just never had the stomach to do so. Didn't like the situation in Chicago. The vibes were bad, and even Roquan, to a certain degree, wasn't always Roquan when he was in Chicago. But to make things clear, this is a short-term addition. DeMarvion Overshown is absolutely the guy who's going to be the inside linebacker to have in this defense when he returns. He was an absolute monster before he got hurt. But that just because the long-term play is Overshown doesn't mean that you can't get some value or some depth from Sanborn right now in your lineups. He is going to play snaps. He's played, I think, top 5 currently on the team in defensive snaps, okay? He's one of 5 players. I apologize. He's one of 5 players that's played over 100 snaps. They've got a plan for him. They brought him in there, and he is playing. He's not playing out of necessity, okay? Because if they were doing so, they would have more of a rotation like they do everywhere else on that defense. But he is a stable force within that linebacker core, and I think eventually it's going to come down to him trying to win the linebacker 2 job once Overshown is back. And I just don't see him being able to stave off Kenneth Murray. We'll see. I've never been able to predict Kenneth Murray, so I'm just going to stop trying. I do think, though, we got a 3 to 4 week window here, maybe even longer. It just depends on the rehab. Overshown had a devastating injury. All signs point to him being okay once he's recovered. The timetable is kind of iffy, though. It's one of those things where if you put him on the field too fast, he can get hurt, yada, yada, yada. I'm no doctor. I just know Jack Sanborn, temporary stash that could have some high value down the road, especially once we see these injuries piling up in the league. And second, John Batchy, the Indianapolis Colts linebacker. This one I was kind of a hater on. I covered the Colts this offseason for football guys in training camp, and it was Jalen Carlisle's got a lot of talk. And I think it was because he was kind of the incumbent for that linebacker two behind Zaire Franklin, but he never really grasped that job, and it became a true position, true competition at the position. There was a Cameron McGrone got some love. There was even Alex, I believe his last name is Arias. I apologize, I'm going to mispronounce it. Nobody really knew what was going on. Week 1, McGrone and Batchy both played 22 snaps. It was dead even, okay? They both had kind of iffy stats. This week, Batchy outsnapped him 47-8. I think we have a clear winner, and in that defense with Lou Anarumo, who had Jermaine Pratt and Logan Wilson in Cincinnati, and the entire history of the Colts, dating back to the Okereke and Darius Leonard days, they can sustain two linebackers that have a very high ceiling, and I think that Batchy has ascended into that group now. He's in that status. And I think we need to grab him now before he becomes more mainstream, because when you're playing that many more snaps than everybody else, that means you've won the job. And if you've won the job, you're going to start putting stats on paper. So I think this is going to be about the last time that you're ever going to get him off of a waiver wire or for cheap. That being said, I've never watched the guy play before until last week. I was impressed. The guy – you get stops. They played a hard team in Denver. I know the offense isn't doing what everybody wants it to do, but the Colts look like a good team. And I think when you got a good team and they're stable at positions, you're not going to be so quick to move off of players that are stable. And I think Batchy has an opportunity to try to stabilize that defense. But that got me thinking, and I want your opinion on this. What is going on with Zaire Franklin? He was probably currently the most overdrafted IDP that's happened. Now, it's been 2 weeks. I don't think this is going to be a trend, but right now he was contending for number one IDP player taken in drafts this offseason. Is this a fluke? Is this the new Zaire? Is he that upset that Anthony Richardson isn't the quarterback? What's going on, Mason?
Dude, I have no idea. I'm still mind blown. I had my grape squeeze that you said that the Colts were a good team, because I still can't process that in my head yet. I don't know, man. I really hope I wasn't in a lot of like upward spots in drafts. I like drafting kind of in the back end and doubling down, you know what I mean? So I didn't take him in a lot of places, thank God. But if you got him, I feel like you kind of just got to wait and pray it out, man, and just, start him, maybe put him in a flex. I don't know if that makes you feel better to kind of discipline him on your own roster. You don't want to take him off because you invested so much capital, and I'm not usually one to be like, play your studs, but it's still too early in the season. Now, if you're 0-4 and he's not producing like he is now, then you got to do some soul searching and figure it out. But I don't know, maybe go look on the waiver wire, pick up an extra linebacker, drop one of those defensive backs, and try to assess the battle damage here.
I don't think that's a bad strategy at all. I'm not normally a pearl clutcher kind of guy. I can move off players probably before I should in many cases. Zaire Franklin, I'm clutching the pearls a little bit. Just relax. It's been 2 weeks. I don't even think the Colts are used to winning. So maybe it's just a new vibe for everyone. I'm kidding. I love Indy. I'm from Indy. I just don't want to see people make trades of great players because of a couple of bad games. Because if these bad games didn't happen until week 8 or 9 and you had a bad week 7, week 8, you're not trading the player. But just because we're getting it on the front end, I think we're going to see people panic sell. This could be a good buy window for them. Yeah. I would slap the manager that even tries to trade Zaire Franklin, but I understand the worry. Let's just breathe. It's not even been a quarter of the season. We're good. We're fine. Everything is going to be good. Mason, speaking of good, you were great. Tell me where I can find more of you. Tell me a little bit about yourself. Let the viewers know kind of where we can hype your stuff up.
Yeah. Real quick, though, I'm going to give one more guy, just real quick. I want people to pick him up, man. He caught my eye. I'd never even really heard of him or looked into him that much. Tavius Robinson, Baltimore defensive lineman. I think he can be a defensive tackle as well. Dude has 4 pressures a sack, and he's got like 9 tackles, I think. He's got a lot of snaps. He's out there, man. He's probably on every single wire. So if you're in a true position league, go ahead and pick up Tavius Robinson. Thank me and Matt later. Seriously. My name is Mason. I don't know, man. I just like fantasy football. During COVID, I went out and needed an outlet to talk and started getting on Twitter and started writing over at 5 Yard Rush overseas in Europe. and I kind of made my way back across the pond. Yeah, man, no one would really have me because I didn't really know what I was doing. I was trying to get in. You know what I mean? It's hard trying to figure out what you're doing at first. But yeah, now with the sports affiliation, AEJC, Greg Kellogg, the guys over there, it's great, awesome. I'm doing rankings. Still on Twitter for Start States. I scout the Shrine Bowl. Eric Galco does a Spaces every Tuesday at 9 a.m. So I'm usually there too, listening in, adding in, whatever I can do. But I know IDP's life, man. Football's life. I love it.
Yep. It's the best time of year, ain't it? It's the best time of year. Good people over at the sports affiliation. They've been very kind to me over the years. So good company you're working for. Mason, I'm not just letting you go after that, though. I got to test you one more time. I got to show that big brain of yours off to everybody who tuned in. We're going to play a game. I'm calling this or that. And I'm calling it this or that because I just don't have another name for it right now. I'm going to pick one player. We're each going to pick one player. I apologize, but you're going to go first. I'm going to give you one person or another person. You're going to tell me why you're taking the person over them. And if you give me a brief little short-term, long-term, what you think their value is going to be the highest. Are you ready?
Okay.
All right. Devin White or TJ Edwards?
Wow. Okay. Two of my favorite players, Devin. I don't know, man. Right now, I'm just going to take Devin White. I don't want to play around with the hamstring injury. And if the Bears start going downhill fast, I think they have a lot of investment in Edwards, and they at least want him around for one more year. At least Ryan Poles wants him for as long as he's there, I think. So
I agree. Devin White, that injury with TJ Edwards scares me. And Devin White, I've been a hater in the past. I'm going to shut up, man. I'll take an L. He looks good this year. Jordan Brooks or Zaire Franklin?
I am going to ride the Jordan Brooks wave that you started here and throw him out there. I don't know. I'm riding the hype here. He's looking good. He's feeling good. Miami's in shambles. It's on fire, but it's that this is fine meme if you have Jordan Brooks on your
Yes. I also went Jordan Brooks. Has nothing to do with my love or hate of Zaire Franklin, but I'm riding my own wave. I'm drinking my own Kool-Aid, and it could blow up in my face, but I just love a good comeback story. Foye or Roquan? Who's your guy?
Foye, I think. for no reason at all. Just Foye. Yeah. I don't know. I think this might be one of the last years he has. But at the same time, the other – oh, my God. Who is the other linebacker there? I'm drawing a blank right now. Holy crap. He's not doing that well this year, and I don't know. So I like Foye. I have him as number 2 right now for this week. That's what I was trying to say. Yeah. So,
I went Roquan, and it's a lot. It's just because I think that the opportunity for bigger plays is higher with Roquan than it is Foye. Foye is going to get a crap ton of tackles. That's always going to be his thing. Sure. Roquan, this week he showed it. You got a touchdown. And obviously there's going to be touchdown regression with defensive players. I'm not going to sit here and say he's going to score a touchdown, but Foye doesn't do that often. And Roquan, that's happened more than once. Brian Branch or Nick Hamilton? Or Kyle Hamilton. I said Nick Hamilton. I meant Kyle.
Right? No, I knew you meant. I'm going to go with Hamilton for no particular reason because he's taller. I don't know. They both can play in a multitude of places. They're both like the king of, the secondary in their spot. So they both, I don't know. One would have a top, 3 week and the other will be like in the 40s and then vice versa the next week. So dude, I'll just go Kyle Hamilton.
I went Brian Branch. I was going to say the same thing. It's hit or miss with defensive backs. I think Nick Hamilton, or I keep saying Nick. I don't know why. Kyle Hamilton has one of those. He doesn't have a consistent game, but when he booms, he booms. I feel like Brian Branch has more consistency, but it's vibes. It's all vibes. And then finally, Micah Parsons or Nick Bosa. This is an easy one. I just threw it out to you. Got to give you something to end good on.
I would like to say Nick Bosa, but I'm going to say Parsons just because, I don't know, Parsons, he's got that fuel to his fire right now. He's got Rashawn Gary and Lucas Van Ness on the other side. They have a great interior. And I like the Niners front seven, but they're a little bit younger than the Packers, right? And the Packers, I think, have more vendetta going for them, just kind of like gas on the fire. So I'm going to go Parsons. Please, no one get mad at me. The player I forgot, though, was Devin Lloyd, linebacker.
Oh, yeah. I'm out. I'm out on Lloyd.
Yeah.
All right, Mason. We talked about a lot of things today. We talked young and middle-aged linebackers. Jordan Brooks, Deion Henley. We discussed some injury fill-ins for TJ Edwards and our 4 waiver options, Jack Sanborn, John Batchy. Who are your 2 favorite again? You gave me 4 or 5. Some of them are so good.
I have a lot of them. Tavarius Robinson, Teddy Buchanan, linebacker, Drew Tranquil, and Upton Stout.
All right. Well, thank you, everybody, for watching. Next guest is a fun one. We've got Gary Davenport from Bleacher Report coming on the show. I'm Matt Monty. Thank you for watching the Dynasty Degens channel, and we will see you next week.